Hey guys, what's up? It's oh wow my Hey guys, what's up? It's Liz, and today I will be showing you my vinyl collection. This is going to be a yearly thing, like we are going to do with my CD collection, but I think last year it was the last time I was going to do a CD collection because honestly, I haven't purchased any new CDs, so it's not anything different than what it was last year, so I don't think I need to make a new one. I don't think I'll ever make a new one. I think I kind of just want to hide them away and just kind of keep my CDs, but I'm more into collecting vinyl because I like how big they are and I love them. It's different, you know? Remy's over here on my bed. I got my water. This video is going to be long, and I'm not sorry. Let's get into it. Starting off my collection, we're going to go with A Day to Remember first. I have the What Separates Me From You album. This is pressed on standard black. Then I also have the Homesick album, which is also pressed on standard black. I listen to A Day to Remember all the time, especially when I'm working out. It's perfect for that. I highly recommend. The next one is a new band for me. This is A Will Away, and this is their Here Again album. Look at that pressing. It's stunning. Love it. Definitely one of my favorite albums of 2017. Definitely a band for you to check out. Next, we're gonna move on to all of my all-time low albums. This is Don't Panic, It's Longer Now. One of my favorite albums from All Time Low. I love the pressing too, it's beautiful, but that's just an album that I listen to all the time from them. Next is All Time Low's Future Hearts album. I remember when this came out and I feel like I forgot that this was actually an album and that they released it. There are a few tracks on this album that I still do listen to, but this is just an album that I kind of forget about. And then we have the Last Young Renegade album that they just released this past year. This album did take a while for me to get into. It wasn't my favorite when I first listened to it, but after seeing the songs live, that's when I fell in love. Next is the So Wrong It's Right album, and honestly, I still regret not going to any of the shows that they put on for this album. I regret everything, but this is such an incredible album, and it's just one of my favorites. Next, I have Bad Son's Disappear Here album. This is a new band for me too. Look at that pressing, it's beautiful. I love the colors. Honestly, just another great album. Next is The Brigade's Indefinite album. This is another album that I just honestly really need to listen to more of, but I do think the pressing is beautiful. I did get this from vinyl, I believe. Next one for me is Old Bones by Broadside. We're on to Broadside's albums now. Such an incredible album. This is the album that literally made me fall in love with this band, and then they released their new album last year, which is called Paradise. This pressing's really pretty. It's a blue. It looks like it's water, which I love, and this album is very underrated and I don't understand why. But again, Broadside's awesome. Check them out. The next one for me is Chapel, and this is their Sunday Brunch EP. This is the only EP that they have released. Look at that pressing. It's like a cracked open egg, and I love it so much. This band is so good. Definitely go check them out. I am obsessed, and I can't stop listening to this EP. They're incredible. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be confused on why I have this album in my collection, but I love Cute Is What We Aim For. I love this album. It's so good. I remember listening to this all the time when I was in high school, and it's just very nostalgic to me, and it's great. Go check it out. The next record that I have is Tell Me You Love Me by Demi Lovato. This is one of my favorite albums of 2017. Such an incredible album. Her vocals are always amazing. Again, go check it out. It's great. Next, I have the Dirty Dancing soundtrack, and I actually took this from my parents because I felt like I needed it more than they did. So yeah, I have this in my collection, and I'm so happy. Next, I have, oh my gosh, we're moving on to Disney. This is great. First, I have the Aladdin soundtrack. I'm not the biggest fan of Aladdin, but you know, that's okay. I still really like the movie. It's just not one of my top favorites. And then we have Beauty and the Beast with the live action version that they did for the movie, and I think I like the original soundtrack better than this version, but I do love the movie. It's great. I just like the original songs better, you know? Moving on, we have one of my favorite records that I own. It's the Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 2 soundtrack. I love Harry Potter. I'm sure all of my subscribers know this, but this is just a record that I will play if I'm ever needing to just focus on a certain thing, or if I just need to relax, I'll play this, and it's perfect. Next for me is the Guardians of the Galaxy Deluxe Vinyl Edition. I loved the soundtrack for this movie so much that I had to have it on vinyl. I don't know why, but I just needed it. Now we're moving on to one of my favorite Disney movies ever. I love Lilo and Stitch. It's just a movie that I'll play if I'm ever feeling down, and it instantly makes me happy. It's a favorite. Next, I have the Moana soundtrack. Again, I love Disney. Moana is one of my favorite Disney movies ever. Even though it's a newer movie, it holds a special place in my heart. I love the entire soundtrack. I just love everything about it. It's a great one. Next, I have one of my favorite Disney princesses. I love Rapunzel. I love Flynn Rider. I love this entire movie. Tangled is just, I feel like people don't really talk about it and it hurts me. I feel like it's an underappreciated movie. Next is probably my favorite Disney movie ever, The Lion King. This movie came out the year I was born. It holds a special place in my heart. This soundtrack was played anytime I would cry when I was younger, so I know every single lyric and it's great. Next, I have Acoustic Dreams by Echosmith. This is an incredible EP. They have a few of their songs stripped down to an acoustic version, and it's just breathtaking, amazing. I don't know how I have this either. Next, I have Talking Dreams by Echosmith, one of my favorite albums of 2013. This is the album that made me fall in love with Echosmith, and I want them to top this so badly, but I don't know if they ever will. Next, we're moving on to my Ed Sheeran albums, and yes, of course, I have all 3 Ed Sheeran albums. I love his music so much, and this was one of my favorite albums of 2017. I listened to it all the time, mostly throughout the entire summer. Next, I have Ed Sheeran's Plus album. This was his debut album that he released, and it will always hold a special place in my heart. It's my favorite Ed Sheeran album. Next, I have Ed Sheeran's second album that he released, and I love this album, but I never listened to it, and I don't know why. I don't really understand why people don't like this album, but then I kind of do. This is Fall Out Boy's Save Rock and Roll album. I think I like this album a lot because I just used to listen to it all the time when I would run and work out. Next, I have Forever Came Calling's Contender album. I have listened to this a couple of times, so I can't exactly have an opinion on it, but I do enjoy this album from what I remember listening to. Next, we're moving on to my From Indian Lakes albums. This is Absent Sounds. This is one of my favorite From Indian Lakes albums. It's incredible. I think the pressing looks like a booger, to be honest, but I love it. I love From Indian Lakes. The singer's voice is incredible, and this is Everything Feels Better Now, their last album that they released. I play this album whenever I want to unwind from a crazy day. It's perfect for that. It's very soothing and relaxing, and I appreciate them for making music like this. Next, we have Adornment by Grayscale. This was my favorite album of 2017. Out of all the pressings that I own, this one's my favorite. I love the colors and how they blend together. It's beautiful, and this album is incredible. Mom Slept and Fever Dream, amazing. Then we're moving on to What We're Missing, which was their album released before their last. I love this pressing so much. It's so pretty, and this album is so good. Go check it out. Next is Halsey's Room 93 EP. This is honestly the EP that got me to fall in love with her music. I don't really like Badlands or Hopeless Fountain Kingdom, if that's what the album is called, I don't know. But I do like this EP a lot, and I've listened to it way too many times. And then we're moving on to Life Lessons by Handguns. I've listened to this album quite a few times and I do love it. I love this pressing so much. It reminds me of another pressing that I have from a different artist that will come up later in the video, but I do like this album a lot. I just need to listen to it more. Next is Summer Bones by Hit the Lights. Again, this is just another album that I need to listen to more of. I love this pressing. It reminds me of another pressing that I have, which will be later in the video, but this is a great album. I had it on CD, but I'm pretty sure I sold it. Again, I'm selling a lot of my CDs on Depop. If you're interested, I'll leave a link in the description box down below. Again, a lot of them are being sold. Please go buy them. Next is In Her Own Words, their Unfamiliar album. I love this album a lot, actually. There's a couple of songs on here that I just listen to all the time, and I got to take pictures of this band last year, and that was so much fun. The first time I ever got to take pictures was because of this band, so I owe them a lot. Again, a great album. They just released a deluxe version of this, I believe. Next is my Jimmy Eat World Bleed American album. I've been listening to this a lot lately, and I am loving it. And then we have their Integrity Blues album, which was just recently released, and I've been loving that a lot lately too. I forgot to mention that I do love Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, so I do have their Greatest Hits album because it just has all the popular songs. Now we're moving on to all of my Jon Bellion albums. This is The Definition. I love this so much. I bought the box set that has the definition, the separation, and translation through speakers. So I am a very happy person at the moment that I get to own all of his albums. I love his older music, and oh my gosh, I'm just so happy. And then we have The Human Condition. This album was such a life changer for me, probably one of my favorite albums of the 2016. So good. If you don't listen to Jon Bellion, what are you doing? Like, you need to figure out what you're doing with your life because you're definitely missing out. Next, we have Jewel Vera's Friendly Enemies EP. This is actually the EP that made me fall in love with this band. They're incredible. I haven't listened to their new album yet. I know I should. I saw them at Warped Tour last year, and I believe the year before, or whenever they were last on it. Amazing band. I would definitely recommend at least listening to this EP. Now, this is an album that just started it all for me. Knuckle Puck's one of my favorite artists. I love Copacetic. It's my favorite Knuckle Puck album. It has my favorite song on it. Honestly, this is just a solid album that I know all of my subscribers would love. So if you don't listen to Knuckle Puck, go check them out. Definitely a new favorite band for me. And next is the Calendar Days and Indecisive 7-inch that they released. I somehow got this, and I'm not sure why, but I thought I needed it. And next is their newest album, Shape Shifter. This is an album that kind of just caught my attention and made me look more into Knuckle Puck. This is a solid album too. I love it. I love all the songs. I saw most of them live. Want Me Around is incredible. This whole album is just, I love it so much. Next is a record that I got from a challenge I did with Tess. It was the $5 record challenge. This is the Golden Hits of Leslie Gore, and honestly, I do listen to this and I love it. Next is Light's Little Machines album. I love Light's. I love her voice. It's so unique and different, and this album just stood out to me the most and honestly really caught my attention. It made me fall in love with her voice and her music, and I just love it so much. Definitely an album that you should check out if you want to get into Lights. Next is the Midnight Machines album from her, and this is just songs from Little Machines stripped down. So it's just an acoustic album, and I love it so much. I listen to this whenever I'm trying to relax from a crazy day. It's perfect. Next is Lord's Pure Heroine album, and this is man, I can't tell you how many times I've listened to this album. It's incredible. Next is Marina and the Diamonds. This is her Fruit album. I can honestly say that I have listened to this, but I don't remember anything. I remember her first album, and that's what I listened to a lot. I haven't listened to any of her newer music, and I know I need to. And this is the Family Jewels album, and again, I need to listen to this more. I'm just failing. It's okay. Next is A Lesson in Romantics by Mayday Parade. This is such an iconic album. I love this pressing. It's so beautiful. I love the gold and how it's just split down the middle, and the other half is clear with splatter, and the other half is just solid gold. An incredible album, and I'm so glad that I got to see it live this summer, all the way through at Riot Fest. It was just unbelievable. It was just full of emotions. Next is You're Gonna Miss It All by Modern Baseball. I can honestly say that I've listened to this a couple of times, and I can't really remember what's on this album. But I have listened to Modern Baseball before. I just need to listen to them more. Next is Moose Blood's Blush album. This is an album that made me fall in love with Moose Blood. I'm very excited for their new album. I love this pressing. It's so pretty. It's just a beautiful royal blue, and this whole album is solid, and I can't wait to finally see Moose Blood live in Chicago in April. I'm so excited. I'm probably going to be an emotional wreck, so if you see me, just ignore the tears. My favorite song off of this album is Glow. Next is Feel Something by Movements, and this album was one of my favorite albums of 2017. First off, the pressing in general is stunning. It's the orange, white, and black mixed together. I love the contrast with it. It's beautiful. All of the songs on this album are just so emotional, raw, and I love the way this band writes. It's incredible. And I can't wait to see them again whenever that will be. But this is definitely an album you need to check out. Next is the Outgrown Things EP by Movements. This is the EP that made me fall in love with this band. I owe this EP everything. This, oh my god, I love this so much. I've listened to it way too many times. Next is Life's Not Out to Get You by Neck Deep. This is an album that made me fall in love with Neck Deep. I remember when the first single came out and I was instantly hooked. This album just reminds me of summer, and I can only listen to it during the summer because it just doesn't feel right at any other time of the year, but one of my favorite Neck Deep albums, if not my favorite. Next is The Peace and the Panic by Neck Deep, and this is the album that was released last year in 2017. This did not make my top albums of 2017 list. It's a good album, it's just there were a few songs on it that I didn't care for, but overall I did enjoy the songs that they released as singles. In Bloom was really good, Parachute's really good, Motion Sickness is amazing. Next is Neck Deep's Rain in July and A History of Bad Decisions album. Again, I need to listen to this more, or at least all of their older music, because I'm just failing in that department, and we all know I fail at that, so, you know, it's not a surprise to anyone. But I love this pressing. It just reminds me of those suckers that have the caramel in the middle and the candy on the outside. Does anyone know what they're called? Because I don't really remember, but again, I do enjoy this album. Next is The Outsiders by Need to Breathe. This album and artist is just one that is very special to me and my mom. It's an album that we listen to all the time together. It's great. Next is Northbound's The Flaws in Everything album. I saw them live this past summer at a small little venue, and they were so good. I'm so glad that I was able to pick this record up when I saw them. I also got to take pictures of them at that concert, which was awesome, and I can't wait for their new album because they just released a new single that you guys should definitely go check out. Next is Death of a Bachelor by Panic at the Disco. When this album was released, I was very iffy about it, even though this album has my favorite Panic song on it, Emperor's New Clothes. I'm pretty sure everyone knows that, but I do like the sound of that album. Next is Too Weird to Live, Too Rare to Die by Panic at the Disco. Obviously, this pressing is honestly stunning in person. The camera doesn't do it justice, but this was the album that I listened to when I was first getting into Panic because I jumped on the bandwagon a little too late, but you know, that's okay. I'm never too late, but I do need to listen to their older music more because I've just failed. Next is Parachute's Wide Awake album. I love this band a lot. They sing one of my all-time favorite songs, She for Liz, but this album is incredible. They did an amazing job with it, and I loved seeing all those songs live when I saw them last. Next is After Laughter by Paramore. This album deserved so much better. No one really talked about it, at least from what I saw. This album, oh my god, you guys. I know I didn't like it at first, and it took me a long time to get into it, but this is basically one of my favorite albums of 2017. So good. I love the direction that this band is going in. I love how different it is from anything else that they've made. They're incredible. I'm just so excited for Paramore these days. Next is Paramore's self-titled album, and this is an album that I listened to when I was first getting back into Paramore. This has my favorite Paramore song on it, Last Hope. So good. And of course I have to have Riot. Duh. Like, who am I if I don't have Riot? Definitely a record that I'm glad that I have in my collection. Next is Paris's White Noise album, and this album, let me tell you something. I listened to this way too much when it first came out. I was obsessed. It was bad, but it was also good. This album is just incredible, and what a great first album for them to put out and release. I still need to listen to their new album because I'm just failing, but I have been listening to it more, and I want to get it on vinyl whenever I have the chance. But yeah, definitely an album you guys need to listen to if you have not already. Holy and Fire are great. Next is Saint Motel's Saint Motelevision album. I love that, it's brilliant. I saw these guys live when they opened up for Panic, and I highly recommend checking out this album because they're incredible live. And next is Sam Smith's The Thrill of It All album. This was incredible, definitely worth the wait. One of my favorite albums of 2017. I love his voice so much, so I'm basically trash for him, and I'll throw all my money at him, so I can't hate anything that he does. Next is In the Lonely Hour by Sam Smith. What an iconic album. This was incredible. I'm so glad that he released this. So many amazing singles from this album and just songs in general. I love it so much. Next is Sleep On It's Overexposed album. This album, again, another one of my favorite albums of 2017. I've talked about this album quite a bit on my channel along with this band. It's just weird because I'm friends with a few of the guys and I'm just so proud. This album is very well written. You guys definitely would like it if you listen to any of the music that I listen to or have mentioned on my channel. Go check them out, go see them live, go tell them hey. Next is Small Pool's Love Tap album. I got this from VNYL. That's how I found out about this band, and this music just screams summer to me because it's just so upbeat and it just makes me want warm weather. God, I just want summer badly. Oh my god, now we're moving on to my State Champs albums. God, we all know that I'm up their ass, basically. So, first off, Around the World and Back, their second album that they have released. I love it so much. I remember when they released the Secrets single and they let everyone have it for free. God, what a time. But yeah, what a great album. This fucking band. Ugh. And next I have it on the deluxe version. My friend Amanda told me that I didn't need this, but in my mind, I was thinking, wow, Liz, you actually need this. How big of trash can you be if you don't have the deluxe version? I was like, I don't know. So I bought it. This one has Slow Burn on it, and whatever the other song's called, I forgot, because I'm terrible. But again, Around the World and Back's great. I love that they put live versions of the songs on this. Thank God. And next is their, what is this called? Overslept EP? Yeah, this is their Overslept EP. I never listened to it. Why do I have it in my collection? I don't know. I just wanted it. My friend gave it to me. Well, I bought it off of her, but yeah, I have that. And next is The Acoustic Things. Fun fact, this is the first record that I've ever owned in my entire life. I got a, like a bundle. There you go, an album bundle. And this was in it, and it was like, oh, I don't have a record player, but I might soon, so I'll just have this anyways. So, I have The Acoustic Things. I love it because, again, I love acoustic music. State Champs. It's a great mix, obviously. Sadly, it has If I'm Lucky on it, but that's okay. And next is The Holy Grail, The Finer Things. I love this album with all my heart. This is what started the entire obsession. Actually, it's not even an obsession. I just hate this band because I throw all my money at them. But this is what started my love for State Champs, unfortunately. It's such a good album. It has my favorite State Champs song on it. Hard to please. I'm sure everyone knows it, but yeah. They're State Champs. And next is Taking Back Sundays, Tell All Your Friends album. Fun fact, I've listened to this, but I don't remember anything. So, I definitely need to re-listen to that album. And next is Taylor Swift's Fearless Platinum Edition, of course. I had to be that person. I love Taylor Swift. I don't like her new album, but I do love all of her older music. I could literally do an entire video just talking about her, and you guys would be like, what the hell? Who were you? You don't want to know. Next is the 1975, I'm not even gonna try to say that entire album name because I get it wrong every time. But it's the really long one, or their like last album that they released. RIP, because they're doing one more album and then they're doing something else. I think it's called Music for Cars. I don't know. This album's incredible. Love it so much. If I Believe You is the song title, I think. My favorite song on that album. It's so good. It literally speaks to me. But I saw them live this past year and that was just unbelievable. It was weird seeing them live. Next is the Griswolds, Be Impressive. I got this from VNYL too. This is another great album, another great band that they showed me, and I'm glad that I have this in my collection. I can just hear Be Impressive, Be Impressive. It's part of the song, don't ask. Next is the Gospel Youth, Always Lose album. I saw them live a few weeks ago and it was incredible. Guys, go check this band out. They're awesome. Love them so much. Next is the Lumineers Cleopatra album. I got this from VNYL. Thanks again, guys. I really appreciate it. And I've been listening to this non-stop on Spotify. I've played this multiple times on my record player, and it's just, I'm glad that I have this in my collection. I love the singer's voice, and I love the music. I just love everything about them. Next is the Lumineers' self-titled album. I used to listen to this all the time when it first came out, and I kind of forgot that it existed, so I'm glad that I have this on vinyl now. Next, oh my god. Next, we're moving on to The Main. This is my favorite The Main album. I love American Candy. It will always have a special place in my heart. Unlost is my favorite The Main song. I want to get it tattooed on my wrist. I never talk about tattoos because I'm terrified of needles, and I'll need to hold on to someone when I get it. But I love this album so much. I'm so glad I got to see the entire thing live along with Lovely Little Lonely. Next is Lovely Little Lonely by The Main. Honestly, just seeing this entire album in full live along with American Candy was life-changing. Definitely, if you guys had the chance to go see this show live, I cried multiple times, so I'm not even gonna lie. But this album is definitely one that I could see The Main releasing, and I'm glad they did. I love the transition songs that they had between a couple of the songs, like Lovely, Little, and Lonely. I love that. I loved that special touch. It was just a solid album from The Main. Next is Stay Up, Get Down EP by The Main. I bought this at 8123 Fest. I remember talking to Paige about this. Honestly, I don't listen to this, but I'm glad that I have it in my collection. Next is The Story So Far's self-titled album. This is the last album that they released. I bought this off my friend Jenna. Thanks again, Jenna. I love this pressing. It's so pretty. It reminds me of Cotton Candy. And this is just an album that made me listen to The Story So Far a lot more. I think it was Smile, Nerve, and Heavy Gloom were the songs that caught my attention and like forced me to listen to this. Yeah, I feel like a lot of the songs sound the same, but I do enjoy this album nonetheless. Next is What You Don't See by The Story So Far. Fun fact, Empty Space, which is on this album, I heard live at Warped Tour one year, and I don't remember who I was waiting for, but Story So Far was playing on the stage next door, and I remember hearing the song thinking, wow, I actually really like this, and I found it later that day, and I just couldn't stop listening to it. But I found this at a record store in my city, and I'm glad that I have it in my collection. Next is Transit's Joyride album. This album deserved so much more. This is a very underrated album, and I can't believe people actually hate it. You guys suck. Treat it with respect. It's a beautiful album. It's incredible. My favorite, one of my all-time favorite albums, just overall. So good. And next is Young New England by Transit. Again, Transit deserved way better because RIP, they're no longer a band, but this record, I love it. I listen to Joyride a lot more than this one, but I do enjoy this album also. Next is 21 Pilots' Blurry Face. I honestly forget that 21 Pilots is a band because they haven't really done anything in the last few months. They've just been extremely quiet. And then I have the LCLP, the Ohio shaped record from them. This was a record store day thing, and I got this from a subscriber for free, and I know this is rare, so I might sell it one day, but I kind of just want to keep it just to have it. And next is my favorite 21 Pilots album. I love Vessel with all my heart. It's so good. This was the album that made me fall in love with 21 Pilots. I love the writing for it. I love the sound of the entire album as a whole. It's just a solid album, and I'm excited for their new music, but I'm also kind of nervous. I just hope it's somewhat still the same, but a little different. Next is Walk the Moon's Talking Is Hard. I remember when this album came out, I listened to it all the time during the summer. It's definitely a summer album that you want to listen to. It just gets you in the mood for warm weather. Next is Guaranteed to Disagree by We're the In Crowd. This EP, I remember listening to this nonstop. I love We're the In Crowd. I miss them. R.I.P. They opened so many doors for me, literally. Like, that's how I found State Champs. That's how I found Set It Off. That's how I found a bunch of bands, because of We're the In Crowd, and that's kind of how I got into this music scene, I guess you can kind of say, but it's all because of We're the In Crowd. They are the reason that I am here. I think one of the first videos on my channel is a We're the In Crowd concert vlog, maybe, unless I deleted it. But next is Weird Kids by We're the In Crowd. Definitely an incredible album. I'm sad that this was the last album that they released. Reunion tour, that's how I found State Champs, because I saw them live up close and personal that day. It was great. I definitely think they need to release their second album on vinyl, because I need it, and I know a few other people who need it. They should just do it, because I would fucking buy it. I would buy 5. But Windows in Heaven from this album makes me cry like a baby. Next is With Confidence's Better Weather album. I love this album with all my heart, but I just can't. I don't know about this band. It's just so disappointing, but I love this album. I remember when this came out, I remember seeing them live. It's just, I have a special place for it in my heart, but I just never listened to it. I don't listen to their music anymore, and it's just sad. They just had to go and fuck everything up. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and comment down below. Tell me your thoughts on the video and what you'd like to see next. I don't know if you guys have a favorite pressing or whatever, but what record in your collection, if you have one, is your favorite? I would love to know, and why. I think mine is my Adornment record from Grayscale. I love the pressing. It's beautiful, and that's such an incredible album that it just holds a special place in my heart. So let me know in the comments section down below, because I would love to know. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. I put videos out 1 to 2 times a week, and you can follow me on any of my social media sites at Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, or Snapchat at Sebastian. It's the same way spelled on every single account. I hope you guys have a great day today, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
I'm at an all-time